the difference between the game now and what it was. And, some very critical guys were talking, critical conversations last night about, some certain people painting their nails nowadays and all these things. And nobody was clowning, but everybody was like, it's a different era. Like, you would have been ostracized painting your nails in an NFL locker room as a quarterback, a lineman, whoever, right? Nowadays, like, it's accepted because I think we all want the money, the bag, they say, for all these different guys now. And they're all in the same accord. Whereas before, it was like, I don't care if you get your money. I'm getting mine, and I'm going to wreck shop. I'm going to dominate you. Now it's more of a friendly environment is what the census was. And that's kind of showing on the field. You get lackluster effort. A lot of people are talking about Chase Young's effort in the championship game. They're showing it this morning on ESPN. Effort we've seen certain receivers this year not block for running back because they're saying they don't want to get hurt. And it's like, what is going on in the NFL? Why has it become this? Just money?
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it. I mean, the money's so big now, right? I mean, you look at how it goes. It's like hockey stick, how fast the money increases. So everybody's a brand. I don't know. When I played, I retired in 2013. So social media was just coming, kind of rising to prominence. I was like, why would you guys be on social media? That's stupid. Oh, no, I'm on social media.
I didn't even know about Twitter.
Right. But yeah, back then, no, it's like you said, there were nobody saw themselves as a brand, maybe like the top 10 guys in the league. They did the car commercials and whatever.
Yeah, Peyton Manning and them had a commercial. Other than that.
Yeah, you were like, that's cool. They deserve it. They're making millions off the field. The rest of us, yeah, we're just maybe I could get. I remember I had a car dealer here locally who let me drive a car. I sign autographs at the dealership like once a month. I was like, that's pretty big time. Now, guys, they're like, I'll just buy a car. I don't need a free car.
College kids are doing it now, Matt. College kids are getting those cars.
Yeah, well, no. Jeez. So, yeah, I think that the money's gotten so big, and when the money gets big, then all these other people come around the game, right? Used to be you had an agent, and that was it. Now you got an agent, you got a marketing guy, you got a social media director, it's just these guys have entourages. So, yeah, that's part of it. But to your point, it was. I remember the first year I made the Pro Bowl, and I was really young, third year in the league, first year starting. It's like I made the Pro Bowl. That's awesome. And back then, this is 2000. Everybody went to the Pro Bowl. Mm-hmm. Like nobody didn't go. Like our starting quarterbacks were Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, Michael Vick. Like nobody didn't go. Now nobody goes, right? But back then, like you made it to the Pro Bowl, you went. It meant something. And I remember going over there. And I was like, Johnny Randall. Now he's my teammate. He made the team. But then like Warren Sapp, Leroy Glover. I was like, man, I was on the field. We were telling each other in no uncertain terms what we were going to do to each other,
Yeah.
And now it's like, I'm like, what's this going to be like? Because I didn't know. And even though you're cool, to your point, JB, there's still a little bit of tension because you're just like, okay, yeah, we can be cool for now, but no, yeah. Week's over. Like we ain't cool no more.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I got it. Like, but yeah, I think nowadays, because of everything, the connectivity and everything, guys are, yeah, it's more of like
they talk on these.
Yeah. It's just, it's more of they talk a lot to each other. It's kind of like a club and yeah, I don't know. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's no question.
Let me ask you this thing. I know on this show, we spent like the whole season having discussions about the product, just the NFL product not being the way it used to be. And I know JB, obviously, I'm 30 years old, so I'm the young guy on the show. Always,
I got kids almost as old as
I'm you. Always defending the young folks, man. But obviously, JB comes from a different perspective, which I respect. You being a veteran, NFL veteran for so long, like, do you look at the product today on the field and think that, like, this is bad football?
I don't want to say it's bad football. It's certainly not as physical as it used to be for two reasons. One, well, listen, it's all driven by college, right? So whatever schemes they're running in college, that's what's going to end up going to the NFL because you're getting quarterbacks that are developed in these systems. So it doesn't make any sense to have a read option guy, spread him out and bring him into the pros and have him run, 7-step drop back from under center. It just doesn't make any sense. That's not smart business. But the run game, it's just kind of everything sideways, run, cover a guy up, let the back find his way. I mean, I always said, if I ran a team, I'll make sure I answer your question.
Yeah,
If I ran a team, everybody kind of tries to do it the same way. And I'd say I would do just the opposite, because everybody's trying to find. That's why I love, like, my Ravens. At least they said, hey, everybody's looking for the franchise quarterback to drop. There's only like 10 of those guys that exist in the world. So instead of trying to find the next Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, let's draft this Lamar Jackson and just try to do it different. New formula. So if I was I would get like 4 tight ends. I'm talking those tight ends that, like, they maybe catch like 3 balls a year.
Yeah.
They come in the game. You're running 2 tight ends, 3, maybe a fullback,
22 personnel. 23.
Yeah, man. Let's run some power. Let's run power and counter.
Yeah.
Let's just do it, because nobody wants those guys. Nobody wants that. I mean, I played with a tight end in Minnesota forever. His name was Jim Kleinsasser.
Oh,
Jimmy. Jimmy could catch the ball. He was an athlete, but
play fullback, tight end. You can move him around.
I mean, we ran the crap out of the ball. One year we were 6-10, and we led the league in rushing. Do you know how hard that is? Because if you're 6-10, you're losing a lot of games. But we led the league in rushing, and one of the big reasons was Jim Kleinsasser at tight end. 9 technique didn't matter. He could hold up against the run by himself, especially run outside zone, and we would just run the crap out of the ball. And you don't see that anymore. Just almost every tight end that comes in the league now, right? They're glorified wide receivers. And it's great because our quarterbacks love to find their tight end and check it down to them or hit them with the option route. But so, I mean, I'd do it. I try to do it totally different, sort of try to bring back that old time football. It probably wouldn't work, but is it better? Is it worse? I feel like, for my taste, it's not as entertaining as it used to be. Although I do think, the rule changes are probably good too, which has taken some of the physicality out of the game. But to me, it's not, when I played, safeties could lay guys out coming across the middle.
Right.
To me, that's not a football play. There's nothing heroic or like, doesn't make you a man if you lay a guy out and he doesn't know you're there. He doesn't see you coming. You're trying to catch a ball. And to me, that's not, like I said, I always think it's football. It's man whoop a man game, and let's and that's what we want. We want those individual battles. But I like that part being out of the game. But yeah, just kind of this run and shoot, the wide receiver screens, all that stuff. It just doesn't really. I'd rather see ISO, but that's okay,
right. That's a prep as a lineman. Listen, I get it, but one thing I feel like that hasn't changed. Just like, listen, you could change the rules, things will change to benefit the quarterback, the skill positions, etc. But up front, we're still going at it. D lineman, O lineman, mono against mono. There's been a couple rules, with cut block and things like that have been changed, of course. But overall, at the end of the day, man, power is power. ISO is ISO. Inside zone is inside zone. Like, up front, in my opinion, the linemen are still going at it to the same degree. Am I wrong?
I'd say same degree. It's just I don't think the run game is quite as physical as it used to be. Now it's more sideways. Like, I think a lot of guys they just run outside zone. And you're running it out of like 3 wides or 4 wides even, and just run and kind of cover a guy up. Whereas the old days, yeah, you did some outside zone, but you also had ISO and power and like you got to get movement. You got to take that D lineman. Smitty, it's for your D lineman. So when that guard and tackle come down on you, boy, if you got pushed 3 yards back in the lap of the linebacker, that hurt. But what's going to hurt worse is when you went over to the sidelines or you watched the film the next day and that coach, like that's a no, right?
Yeah.
But we would always say deposit that 3 technique in the lap of the linebacker. And that's what's kind of that's what's missing from the game today. And as an offensive lineman, I kind of miss that a little bit. But,
hey, Matt, get the D lineman to linebacker depth was our key. Get the D lineman to the linebacker level. Like, that was number one for us, the combos and all that. This is kind of to your point, and I appreciate you coming on here before you get out of here on the Friday before the Super Bowl. Kleinsasser, the fullback from the All Scots and everybody that we don't have anymore. Like that addition to the run game is gone, which is obviously going to soften the game if that's the word we're going to use. Yeah. There's no more inserting. There's no more whamming the 3-tech with a 250-pound fullback or whatever, 270. We don't do it anymore.
The Ravens the Ravens and the Niners are the only two teams that they try to flirt with it, but not the same level.
Who's checked? He's my Harvard brethren. He ain't whamming. He's an athlete. Now, Patrick Ricard from the Ravens, that's 295, 300 pounds, converted D lineman into a fullback. That's what I'm talking about.
They're having to do that. They're having to do that, though, because there is no fullback anymore. There's no fullback volunteering at high school level to play fullback anymore. So
nobody runs it.
Yeah, nobody runs it. And to your point, like the tight end is also going that direction because the tight end is now basically a wideout, a big freakish wideout. And that's what you see with the Kelseys and all these guys. There ain't no inline blockers no more. Kittle can do it, but do they really ask him to spend his time there? Like we don't see the old school, dig out the 7, go scoop the 9. Like tight ends aren't doing it no more. They're releasing, they're chipping for 1 second, and then they're getting the flat, and they're getting them the ball because they're freaks and they're athletic. They can go vertical. They're a mismatch nightmare for a stiff safety or a backer, and that's why you see the backers getting smaller, in my opinion. You see the strong safeties becoming obsolete, in my opinion. I think you're going to have 4 corners back down in the secondary pretty soon because they can't hit anyway. Why you need a safety that's stiff? He can't hit you. Yeah. So interesting times we're in.
To your point real quick, I could talk ball all day. You just cut me off. You just get me out of here. But
you're good.
I remember talking to NFL personnel guys. I mean, so there's a lot of tight ends that coming out of college, they never line up in line. And there's a lot of offensive tackles that are coming out of college. They've never been in a 3-point stance.
I know.
And so the point is you get what you get, right? So if I'm a pro team and these are the guys that are coming out, then I've got to do, I got to work to their skill set or what they do. Or I drafted this guy because if I want to do 22 personnel, I'm not going to draft this tackle. The guy played left tackle at Oklahoma, where they throw the ball 50 times a game out of 5 wides. It just doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. And again, and everything, it kind of it'll swing back and forth. I mean, if somebody starts to have success running a fullback again, then you know what the NFL is going to do. Everybody's going to go try to develop fullbacks and copy them because that's what they do. But right now, the way that the rules are, I think the toughest position to play right now in the NFL, bar none, is D-back. Because I don't know how you try to cover anybody with these rules. And I hate the back shoulder throw. It actually when you call pass interference on a back shoulder throw, it actually rewards a bad throw.
Yeah,
I know the good guys do it on purpose, but it's like I'm running stride for stride with a guy, and the quarterback underthrows him, and he comes back to the ball, and I get flagged. It's not fair. It's not right, and I also think it's not good for the game because I do think the whole, listen, teams aren't dumb, players aren't dumb. Coaches know I'll throw it up in the end zone, throw it in the corner, and make the official make a call, right?
Third down, especially, right? Third down saves guys.
So that's unfortunate, but hey, it's still a great game. Still, at the end of the day, the NFL is entertainment. That's all it's there for. And you want to bet on it to add to your entertainment value, go for it. But I love high school football and youth football. That's what my kids are in now. That's what I coach, and I love that because to me, that's where I learned a lot about life. And and today more than when I was a kid, I was soft as a kid. But our kids these days, they need that. They need to get knocked on their ass a little bit, literally. And they need to get yelled at. They need to fail, and then they need to succeed, and they need to know what it's like to be a good teammate. All those things. They need to do hard things. And so it's a good game. Our high school team runs. Hey, we run veer. Yeah, we going right at it. We don't
Oh,
we take the air out of the ball just cause.
Hey, that's ISO without blocking the tackle. The DN, right? Read the DN. That's ISO, man.
You gotta read the DN or the 3 tech, depending on how you run it, man. I love it.
Hey, man, we ran veer to an odd front. We down the center, pull the backside guard, and I still called it veer, though. You can call it power if you want, but shit, we're going to figure it out against the odd front. Georgia Tech did it for years under Paul Johnson. They'd fold the backside on a veer versus an odd front just because it's so hard to get that backside backer and different things that an odd would give you. To your point, though, let me ask you something real quick about tackles and O-line play versus D-line before you get out of here. I have a theory. We were talking about this last night in Vegas with all these guys. We're lining up in Jet 9 stances back to the original discussion here. The game has, let's say, softened. We used to line up, head up, a little shaded outside, a little true 5 technique in the game because of what? We didn't want to get wrong arm. We want to get friction. We want to collapse the gap. Now we're in wide air ghost 9s out here because we're just jet rushers. We're jet stance rushers. We're not going to block anybody. I believe it's hurt the game, not only pass protection wise, but the physicality of it. We're no longer engaging anything, taking on a fullback, kicking him out because there is no fullback kicking him out. So we were talking about last night. It was interesting. We're talking about it right now. This is that something that is real? Because pass rushers are just pass rushers nowadays. Before they used to have to take on the run. They used to have to worry about getting kicked out, trapped.
Listen, some of these DNs, these guys coming out, and they're getting drafted. They're 245 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were telling me when I played the DN weighs 245, guess what? He's in trouble. He's in trouble because we're putting the right tackle on the tight end on him, and he's going for a ride. I mean, to your point, it has the best DN, DNs, right? That's a marquee position. The best DN I ever played against. I mean, it was Reggie at the end of his career. I was old now. I remember clips of Reggie, but the best DN that I really ever saw up close was Michael Strahan. And I say that because Michael Strahan's game started with physicality. And, all the pass rusher guys always lined up on our left. He played on our right. So he was playing whether it be a 7 or a 9 all the time. And that guy, he could play. He was just as good on the run as he was the pass. And that's how you had to be back then. But yeah, to your point, Coach, it's just that's the way it's gone now. And until somebody tries to exploit that, which I think you can, but until somebody tries to exploit that, right, you're still going to see it. And it's just human nature. I mean,